All right. So first, I was going to talk about the So this is going to be the subject of marijuana, and just from an agricultural standpoint, but also from in order to get there, we have to go through every other standpoint to fully discuss marijuana. So first, I want to start with about how it became illegal in the United States, which was through the Marijuana Tax Act of 1837, which was, it was actually heavily influenced by people who were by people who felt threatened by the hemp industry, because at the time there wasn't very good like studies done on it, and like they didn't understand what it could be used for. Like it was no people were known for smoking it, but like you see hemp in everything everywhere nowadays, like you go to Bath and Body Works and they're selling hemp lotion or whatever. So they knew that it could be used for a lot, but the thing is, it was made illegal through the Marijuana Tax Act of 1937, because various industries felt threatened by hemp and other reasons, also for racial reasons. That's a lot to get into, but you can assume that, obviously, because it's this country. But so yeah, and that eventually that acts like eventually that was made null, but marijuana has been it now it remains federally illegal through as a what's it called, like it's listed with heroin and what's it called something else, as illegal, and it's classified those illegal under federal law. So that's how it remains illegal federally. But what's interesting is that it's actually legal in states. Like there are some states that have legalized it for recreational use, and even more that have made it legal for medical use. Despite under federal law, it was scheduled as having no medical use or no medical benefit. So from right there, we can already tell that federal law that classifies like marijuana as heroin, I think just from people who don't know much about it should be able to tell that that's not right. Like those two aren't the same thing. They're not on the same level, especially of like danger to the body. And it's like doing more than just like anecdotal research on marijuana can let people like can just let you know that it's not that dangerous of a substance. It's in comparison to alcohol, which is legal and sold pretty much anywhere anything else is sold. It's it's actually been found to be just in every sense of the word less bad for you than alcohol. Which comes back to do you think that kind of ties into people will say like alcohol was made illegal for a time, but then people were like, well, Americans should have the right to choose. Like don't you
Yeah.
think that?
Yeah, and I feel like it depends, like with any substance, it just depends on like the person, how it reacts to like you
Mm-hmm.
or like with you. And but obviously alcohol shows more of a bad effect, and they even brought that back because they thought it was a part of their freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't um I'm so sorry.
No, you're good.
Are you gonna cut any of these out?
Nah,
Like,
it's fine.
okay.
All the way through. Okay.
Yeah.
So so marijuana, it remains illegal under federal law, despite the fact that it's done so for outdated reasons and for just everything about it is outdated. And so actually in the last 2 weeks, one of the what's it called, the Supreme Court judges, Clarence Thomas, who is one of the most conservative judges, he he released a statement saying that he thinks the law should be revisited or should be relooked at, especially since it's and he one of the main things he made sure to note was how there's a very obvious distinction. Just like in some states you can go to jail and have your life ruined, honestly, for having it, and in other states people become millionaires off of it and
Yeah.
like make countless amounts of money, and it's
Yeah, I
mainly
feel like it's very biased.
exactly, yeah. I mean, some states right now have, I think 4 states, including Florida, woohoo, have they have laws that allow people just that recommend actually if someone is caught with a scheduled substance, aka marijuana, then it's just you lose your license like automatically.
Yeah.
Doesn't even matter if you were driving.
Yeah, because like the the government is supposed to like follow science and stuff, but science shows that like marijuana isn't as bad as it seems and how it was perceived 100 years ago. But
Um,
people still want to stigmatize it and uh, like name it the gateway drug.
oh yeah, yeah, that's absolutely. I actually had a source here that because I did make one claim earlier, I wanted to cite fatherly.com for the source for how, yeah, pretty much in every sense of the word, marijuana is it's considered to be less bad for you than alcohol. Like that's people will have a hard time refuting that.
Yeah,
They've tried to
I've
refute
never
it.
known anyone get violent on
Yeah,
smoking
exactly.
marijuana.
But I've met countless people who became more violent through alcohol. Like
Yeah,
that's one of them. That's just like I'm noted in like throughout
especially
history.
alcoholics.
Exactly. So, but yeah, as I touched on, it's it's just that was one of the main things Judge Clarence Thomas he was trying to highlight was how there is a major it needs to be revisited because it's inconsistent. Basically, how some states it's an industry even like, and in some states it's you go to jail.
Yeah,
They take your license, and so but yeah, so on that's on in more in one less recent news, I forgot which city it was in Colorado. I think it was Boulder, where they just instead of just decriminalizing, they decriminalized everything.
I
Like,
saw that. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. It was about a year or two ago, I think.
Yeah, they decriminalized like all of it, and like the mortality rates, like honestly, have gone down. I'm pretty sure, and then like the crime rates too,
I believe it.
and it's supposed to.
hmm I mean, because it's like throwing people in jail, where it's like, especially because
Yeah,
jails are known for having like
yeah, or they could like I don't know the money that they like spend on the prisoners and stuff. They could be putting it into like getting them help.
exactly. I mean, like, yeah, jail's not a jail isn't a good place for rehabilitation. It's a place for punishment, and
Yeah,
it's
and
like,
especially yeah, like people that have to like go in solitary, like most people just go insane.
oh yeah, no, it's inhuman. That's
Yeah,
like against every nature of a human being.
yeah.
And yeah, so for the Clarence Earl Thomas, I just wanted to cite jdsupra.com for Clarence Thomas's statements. What's the next thing on the docket? But yeah, oh, so yeah, more leaving more so into the distinction. So Florida is one of those states where it is legal medically, but it's not legal for recreational use. So you can get a medical card, and then there's dispensaries that sell it. Like that's a thing you see on the road, and that's that's something I looked into recently personally because I thought like, oh, maybe I thought of it as actually like a career path, get owning a dispensary in Florida. Like that's something I'd definitely be interested in doing, you know. So I looked into how to do it, and somewhere I have the list somewhere, but it was ridiculous. It was unthinkable. One of the most it was said you despite marijuana being legal, you had to have something like years of experience in cultivating and growing it. Plus, oh yeah, $3 million that you just give to the government. And so something about that. And so obviously for that reason, and then like plus, so let's say you do meet all those ridiculous requirements. which where is anyone but like a defined corporation gonna get $3 million to just pull out of their ass?
Yeah, like I mean, all the people, like all the dispensaries here, they have to be like basically rich. So it's just businessmen running the dispensaries. And
Exactly.
yeah. So it's like, I mean, most of the time they don't actually know how to grow. They're looking for quantity, not quality.
Exactly.
But yeah. Oh, sorry.
You're good. And it's like it's literally it's the rich getting richer, like
Yeah.
in the
Exactly.
purest sense. And so, but the thing is,
Did you
let's
know that if you have your medical card, you can't buy a gun?
I had heard that, dude, literally.
Yeah.
It's like it's the inconsistency. Like I don't under I saw the Biden or in the Senate, they were trying to introduce a bill to make cannabis illegal. Like that's just the bill. And like every news source that reported, it's like, yeah, they're gonna do it, but it's gonna get a lot of opposition. I'm like, why? Why? Say
What's the
why. Explain it to me like I'm dumb.
Yeah, literally like, oh, I bet most of the people in the government just have their dab pens like in their pocket.
Dude, about a year or two ago, one of my yeah, I was on like Twitter, and so it was a North Carolina where having a dab pen, it's not only illegal, it's a felony. If they catch you with any sort of THC wax, it's instant felony, including DP, including the dab pen, which like for those who don't know, it's like an electronic form of like
It's like a vaporizer of the THC.
exactly. It's like high THC, which
There's
is
like oil in the cartridge.
it's like high THC, which is a
Yeah.
psychoactive component of cannabis. And so one of the, I think it was one of the senators or something for North Carolina, they posted it was on Thanksgiving, and they posted a picture of like Thanksgiving dinner, and they forgot to take their dab pen out of the picture, and they posted it. And it's like, dude, if you were anyone but a senator, you would get a felony. It's ridiculous. And so, but yeah, let's say you do meet all of those requirements to open a dispensary in Florida. You got the $3 million, you got all the experience, you got everything. Oh no, they're not. They haven't accepted a single application since 2015. It's ridiculous. It's almost like you have to laugh. You have to laugh. All right. I mean, and yeah, so I guess so that's like the history of marijuana, and like one of the from an agricultural sense, which is part of the one. Yeah, it's a part of what I wanted to talk about and how I want to discuss it. It's like there's a lot of different. I think that's this what leads to a lot of the inconsistencies between states is that there's so many varied use for hemp and cannabis. Like there's so many different it's so many different like variations. It's like because it's a plant, like, and it has so many different uses, and it's like some has more of this chemical, and some has like I went to a head shop the other day, and they're like, "Oh, you want to try some Delta 8?" And it's like, yeah, it's cannabis, but it's also not illegal, and we just sell it here. And you can do the same thing with CBD, but it's like THC is that's the naughty one. None of that. It's illegal unless you have this medical card that costs $350. And so, but so I guess for anyone that doesn't know, CBD is like it's the part where it's the medicinal part. Like I'm sure you've seen videos of like
It's
it
what
being
balances like it out. It's like the calm part of
exactly.
the marijuana.
Like I was reading an article at one point about how people who used to suffer from like Xanax addictions, they would basically use CBD as a substitute for it, and they would be like, yeah, it's like it gives you the same, it's like the same feeling of like calm.
My grandmother, she used to take CBD, and she's also in pain management. So in pain management, they give you certain like painkillers, and they'll drug test you randomly to see if it's in your system, to see if you're actually taking them, or to see, if you have any other things in your system. So she was taking CBD, but it has low like very small traces of THC still in it.
Mm-hmm.
So of course it like showed up on her drug test and they told her she can't take it anymore. And now like she's just in like even more pain because for a while it was helping her a lot. She loves like working out in the yard and like she loves her garden and stuff. And she'll still do it, but she just like obviously will complain way more. And it like it sucks because she has like really bad memory because of the painkiller she takes. And with like CBD, it felt like, I don't know, I could actually have like a conversation with her and she could remember it later on.
That's
But yeah, so now she's like back on just taking her hydros. And
that's what's so upsetting
yeah,
because
yeah,
like I don't even think that's like a point I have to make anymore that
yeah, because
hydros are
it's like, why can't like they also prescribe like CBD? Like it's legal in
Mm,
all 50 states. Like, why can't they also prescribe CBD?
exactly. And it's like
Because
literally
like they could, that's like, there you go. Like that helps. Like,
literally and the alternative that the legal safe a-okay
yeah,
alternative is one of the most deadly. It's basically heroin but behind a mask, and that's her
exactly.
legal alternative. Go nuts.
Yeah. It's crazy because like sometimes she'll forget to she'll because usually she'll take like halves, right?
Okay.
But she's like a lightweight with like literally anything, alcohol, whatever. But she um would take half of one and then sometimes like she would forget, so she would end up taking like another half or another two halves, and then she would end up like forgetting the whole day, and then she'll like wake up and she's just like, what day is it? Like, I don't know. It's pretty scary because I'm like, oh God, I hope one day she doesn't like take way too many.
Mm-hmm. That's that's really scary.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, so CBD, that's what it does. Like it's not a psychoactive
Yeah.
feeling. It's not something that keep going,
She
sorry.
has fibro. Sorry, I'm so sorry. I cut you
You
off.
good.
She has like fibromyalgia. So that's basically like, I don't know if you know what that is, but basically it's where your muscles like will constantly cramp and everything. And it basically feels like a Charlie horse, like all throughout your body. And so like it was helping her, like the CBD was helping her sleep because during nighttime, like that's when the cramps like act up the most.
Oh.
But yeah, it was like helping her sleep and stuff. And yeah, that's why she was like taking the painkillers. I didn't explain that part, but
Mhm.
yeah, I couldn't imagine like having that disease because it just sounds like very painful. And like you can see like the muscles like spasming
Oh my
sometimes.
God.
Yeah,
I couldn't imagine.
yeah.
I mean, it's like, and that's what CBD helps, but it's not like
Exactly.
it
Yeah, it's
doesn't
like
dope
it
you
calms,
out.
yeah, it calms the muscles.
And it's like, I mean, but that's what, so that's the more medicinal part, and that's in
Yeah, and
contrast to
it's the part that doesn't get you high.
exactly, yeah, like it doesn't make you feel
Yeah.
like loopy or whatever, which is in contrast to the part that does the, which is the THC, which is as we were talking about like dab pens earlier, that's there consists of like pure THC, like pure make you psychoactive, like the best word for it. And
Mhm.
so that's the part that's like illegal. That's the part that like you said, if it shows up on a drug test, you're boned
Yeah.
because it's technically illegal.
Mhm. Yeah.
Trying to see if I had anything else in the doc. Um, um, U.S. I think there's one more thing I wanted to touch on really quickly because I think the Zoom timer is going to be up soon. Um, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine.
And so, and like I said, so for the future of cannabis, it's like it's crazy to think about how, like I said, it's an industry. Like there's people that are making money off of it,
Mhm.
but
And
because of the
there's
incredible barriers
people in
to
jail because of it.
While there's people in jail, and then there's people. That's a whole nother topic. Don't get me started about how people are making money off people in jail.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, so there's a marijuana industry. Like in legal states, they sell so much, they make so much money, and then other like I can go on my phone right now and download Robinhood and buy stocks in marijuana, like trade and sell. And like apparently everyone says those are ones you should get, because when it does, I think eventually it will become legal. But at this point, it's kind of like, why is it taking this long? And
Mhm. Yeah.
everyone knows it's going to happen eventually, and they know because they know it should happen eventually. And it's like touching back to how people make money off people being, privatized prisons. People make money off people being in prison. They lobby Congress to keep laws like this still in place. Like you can like that's I I sound conspiratorial, but this is happening, and please check me. Please prove me wrong. And so I think that's one of them. I think at the end of the day, eventually it's going to become legal, but it's like, how much damage did you guys need to cause to people's lives before you inevitably made it happen? And it's like
Exactly.
that's why everyone says to buy stock in cannabis, because it's gonna boom when it does become legal, and it's gonna become because people who do it illegally are already making like crazy money off of it.
Yeah.
It's just when it does become legal, it's gonna be like it's gonna be taxed something crazy, and they're gonna be
Yeah,
like
exactly. Like they're gonna make it to where
they're like, oh no, we need a
too
piece of this action.
expensive.
Mm-hmm. All right. I think that about wraps it up. Like, I think we touched on everything related to that subject. Let me just make sure I didn't leave anything out. Um, yeah, if you want a source for most people, the Los Angeles Times, in the article, Senate moves to legalize pot at federal level. What are the chances? They cite a source where from polling back in December says that about 60% of Americans support legalizing it for recreational and medical use. Like, come on,
Mhm.
come on. That's a majority. But yeah, I think that about wraps it up. Anything else you can think about that you want to touch on?
No, I think that's it.
All right.
We talked about everything, I think.
All right. Well, sounds good.